Imagine walking into your boss's office and giving notice because your writing has become your primary revenue stream, or your podcast is successful enough that you can quit your day job, or maybe having your marketing on autopilot so you can spend your time on the art career you love rather than on marketing. Are you a creative person who's great at what you do, but marketing makes you freeze? You're not alone. I help passionate, purpose-driven creatives overcome fear, find their brand voice, and build a marketing strategy that works for them. Oh yeah, I also make it easy and painless. It's never too late to grow the business you've been dreaming about. Book an introductory call with me, Rob Southgate, at southgatesmallbusiness.com today. And let's take the pain out of marketing together. Welcome to Alley Chats. I'm Rob Southgate. Today, I have a Zinester with me that listens to the show. Knows I have a love for the Zinester because my wife and I are old Zinesters, and it's one of my favorite things. So let me give you the story before we do too much here. First of all, I have Moritz Junker with me. Moritz, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rob.
I am really excited to talk to you. I want to do the setup, though. I want people to know how this happened.
Yes.
Most of the time, I have people on here that I have met in Artist Alley, people that I'm friends with, people I went to high school with, which we're going to talk about in a second. So this show is like filled with, my crew. So my daughter Molly and I go to see Jeffrey Lewis. And if you don't listen to Jeffrey Lewis, you're doing yourself a disservice. Look him up on Spotify. It's fantastic. We went was that in Wisconsin that we were?
Yeah, it was in Milwaukee.
Okay, it was in Milwaukee. We went to see Jeffrey Lewis and his band. We saw the whole night was just fabulous, right? Mm-hmm. And this super tall dude is standing in front of us. Now, I'm a tall dude, and if I think you're a tall dude, you're a tall dude. Standing in front of us, the whole time I'm thinking, I know I'm going to end up having to talk to this guy. I'm either going to have to tell him to get out of my way, or we're going to end up like having a full-on conversation. I won't care. And he turns around. He's talking to his friends, and I'm looking at him, and I look down, and the shirt he has on is a King Cat Comics t-shirt. Okay, those of you keeping notes, we had John Porcellino on this show. He's the guy I sat at lunch with every day. We had lunch in high school together every day, and he ended up that's how we started zining. He was a zinester then in high school. He went on to fame and, well, it's zine, so there's no fortune. But he still is doing zines. He has his own publishing company, Spit and a Half Comics. John's a big deal in that world, right? And he's a great guy. And the fact that you had, I think you either had Spit and a Half, which is his imprint, or
no, it was the King Cat.
The King Cat shirt. Yeah. So I'm like, all my, hey, get the big dude out of my way went out of the window at that moment because, oh my God, you're in a King Cat t-shirt. I've never seen one in the wild. So we get talking. I take a picture of the shirt, send it to John. By the way, you don't know this. John didn't write me back for like 3 days. When he finally does, he's like, I didn't open my messages. Oh my God, you saw one in the wild. That is so cool. So I told him, I sent him some pictures. I believe I sent them of your comic. I may have just told him about it.
Oh, sweet.
So Moritz comes up. When we start talking, I said, oh my God, I got to tell John about this. And I got to have you on Alley Chats, right?
Yeah.
So he gives me this. Let's get a nice, there we go, which is his business card, which is a little zine. That's where he's from. Anyone recognize Michigan? You're down in the bottom of the mitt, but this is just fabulous. So, oh, by the way, Jeffrey Lewis is a zinester too.
Yeah.
So, and then there's more contact information, which we will put in the show notes. You don't have to read it backwards. Okay. So that's how this happened. He's a great guy. I had a great time talking to him. We left there. My daughter and I got in the car. And of course, after talking about Jeffrey Lewis for a half hour, we went, how about that Moritz guy? How cool is that? So here we are, man. Here we are. I'm so happy to have you on the show.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. That was like, I don't know, running into you at that was really surreal, and that kind of that made my night on top of the show. Like, it was a really
that's
good show,
awesome. It was a great show.
Really
Okay. So Moritz, I need a little background here. You're from Michigan, right?
I'm from Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute.
Well,
I
if it's
read your
reversed in the
zine.
camera, it looks.
I read your zine. Is that Wisconsin?
I mean, I think it looks like Wisconsin. I think
thought
I
it
did a
looked like
pretty
the
good
Mid.
job. I mean, yeah.
But you know what? It looks like Wisconsin. You're right. So
Yeah.
you're from Wisconsin. And how did you end up becoming a zinester, man?
Well, I was always really into drawing. Um, I don't know. I read a lot of comics as a kid. I, I really like comic books. And when I was like, well, actually, a lot. Like I'd always kind of just make my own comic books as a kid, and I'd just kind of staple some pages together, draw stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I was 14, in like a freshman in high school, I was like, no, I'm going to take this really seriously. I'm going to copy my comics. I'm going to sell them to my friends. And then I started taking them to like stores in my neighborhood and stuff. And it just
Did they buy them? Did they take them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a comic book store I lived by, and he's like, yeah, you can leave them there, because, it's like, no, doesn't affect him. But then I just kept bringing them, and
So were they giving them away or were they selling them?
They were selling them, but for like a couple dollars usually.
Yeah.
I think at first the guy, his name was Sean. It's Graham Cracker Comics, and
oh, I know Graham Cracker.
Yeah. I think I think he was just like, oh, I'll humor this kid because why not? But
yeah,
then I took it really, really seriously. I think was just, I don't know, kind of. I've always been very like, I don't know, obsessive with it, and have just done it a lot. I don't know.
So the up in the corner we've got pole positioned, which says September 2024. Is that like kind of the newest thing you've put out?
No, I've done a couple since then.
Okay. I just like the cover. I just thought it was cool.
Yeah. You just said send one, and I figured that was like the. Like I'd say maybe that's the one that's gotten me the most attention so far.
It's really moody. It's got a great color to it. Just super cool.
Yeah, thank you.
So you said you started in high school. I mean, tell me about your comics. Tell me about your zine. What are you doing here?
In what, in pole position or in general?
In general. I mean, is pole position, is like this an ongoing series and pole position is one of the issues? Or are you like, no, I'm just creating titles and creating IP all over the place?
Yeah, well, so from kind of all of high school, I had like one series, and I called it Thrills of Mediocrity, and I made like 9 issues of that. And that was like, I'd say kind of every issue there wasn't like a continuous story that much, but it was mostly me just trying to like learn, like, I don't know, that I think that I just kind of like was experimenting and mostly just ripping stuff off and like trying to find out what I wanted to do or what I was like capable of doing. I'm really into like a lot of the like alt 90s comics, like the Daniel Clowes and like Hate. I got into all of that kind of when I was like 15, 16, and you can kind of see in the issues of Thrills of Mediocrity, you're like, oh, here he was really into Too Much Coffee Man, and here he was really into Hate, and here he was really into 8 Ball, and I think it was just kind of
you're speaking my language.
Trying stuff out. Yeah.
I don't know if you caught it if you looked through the alley chats.
Yeah, I see
you see I talked to Peter Baggy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have an interview with Peter, and
that's cool.
He was fantastic. I reached out to him, and he was my big get, like, to me.
Yeah.
And I've had some big names on here, guys that would be like, no, I'm the big get. But to me, like, he was the guy. And when I got him on, he couldn't believe it. And then we tried to actually have him come with us to Indiana to PopCon. We just couldn't arrange it. He was going to be a special guest with Writers Row, which is the thing that we run. and he just couldn't arrange it. But he said he goes to cons not that often, and he said nobody talks to him.
Really?
I was like, I would stand there all day, and he was like,
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, nobody knows what hate is or what I do, and I'm like, oh my
That's
God,
strange.
because to you and I,
Yeah, I thought it was
he's
pretty big at
huge.
the time.
Well,
too.
it was.
Yeah.
It's just, the public is fickle.
I guess so, yeah.
Like I remember seeing the guy who did God Hates Astronauts, which is a fantastic comic,
Oh, I haven't heard of
and
that.
I the year before, a line out the door for this guy. The next year I went, and they were still so good. And he's sitting there. I just talked to him for like a half hour. And then he's like, yeah, nobody really pays attention this year. Like, okay. The public is fickle.
Yeah.
But those are guys, Peter, Dan Klaus, God Hates Comics, or God Hates Astronauts. They're like you. They're passionate about what they're doing. They're telling their story. They're creating their thing. And sometimes pole position hits and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes, So, but yeah, you got to listen to that one with Peter. It's really good, man.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
It's really good. So, look, I put a thing down here. You can follow Moritz at junkercomics.com. You can also find him on Instagram at Moritz_Junker.
Yeah.
So follow him.
Quick correction. It's Junker. It's like
Junker.
Y sound. But
okay.
Just
I'm
Junker
only looking on this and it looks like Junker.
It does look like Junker. I know. No, that's all my life. That has been.
So you're the Yunk man, is what you are.
I am the Yunk man. Yes, I'm the Yunk. I'm a real Yunk.
So you started giving some of the people that you love, the books you love. What would you say are like your top 5 inspirations?
Oh man.
I know it sucks. It's an awful question, but I love to ask it because I always get weird answers. And don't try to be showboaty. Go with the first 5 that pop into your head. If they're all Venom comics, okay.
No,
so be it.
That's fair. I think early on, Jeff Smith, Bone, that was like, like I think that was kind of my first exposure to like well-made comics, because that was in every library and like everyone my age has read Bone and really likes it. And that was what I was, I think, initially most obsessed with as a kid. And like I drew a lot of comics in like elementary school, and it was because of stuff like Bone. And but then I kind of, maybe like middle school age, I kind of lost a little interest in comic books because there wasn't that much stuff. I've never been into like superhero stuff.
Right.
And I like Bone, but it's kind of for younger kids.
Right.
And then when I was like 15, I got a Robert Crumb book at Half Price Books, and that was like, I was like, whoa, this is awesome. Yeah. And I think that kind of,
that'll do it, man.
Yeah, that introduced me to a lot more stuff. Like kind of through the Robert Crumb stuff, I'm like, oh, you can, there's some really awesome comics being made. So I'd say Jeff Smith. Recently, like Charles Burns a lot. I've been reading, I don't know, I reread Black Hole for like the millionth time, and I really love that. Like Peter Bagge, definitely. But I don't know, I haven't been reading that as much lately.
Now, are you a Bradley's or a Tate? Or are you all?
I think I feel like I remember stuff from like Neat stuff more, and I like, that's the stuff I remember, but I also could relate to that more when I read it because I was in high school. And if I reread Hate, maybe in a couple years it'll be a little more.
You got to get a little more jaded, a little more with the world. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I really like Simon Hanselman a lot. Like that's been really exciting when I started getting into his stuff. And then John Porcellino in the last year, or last year or two, I got really into. But yeah, I don't know. Like, there's so much stuff I like. I don't know if I can.
Yeah. Have you ever gone to a zine fest or anything?
Yeah, I've done. I've like tabled at a couple, and then I've also just attended some. But
John seems to be at every one of them.
Yeah, he is. He's like no matter like, I'll go and I'll be like, well, maybe I won't sell anything, but I can talk to John Porcelino for like 10 minutes, and that'll be a nice like
I
nice
love
time.
the stuff he has in Spit and a Half too.
Yeah.
He's a good curator.
Oh,
So
definitely. Yeah.
not to make this the John Porcelino show, but he
But
already had his
why
time,
not?
right?
Yeah. Like, like he deserves it. He's awesome. Right?
Now, did you study any of this in school? Because I know in Madison, I think it's in Madison. Linda Berry is a teacher, isn't she?
Yeah. She has like a comics class. But I've never gone to it, and I've never.
You're missing out.
I am, and I'm kind of mad about it. Like there was at my high school there was like an AP art class, I think, where you could I don't know, a friend of mine, she went to Linda Berry's class like a couple times, I think. But I didn't find out that this class existed until like the second semester of my senior year, and then it was like I was like, whatever. And then now I live in Milwaukee, so
yeah.
I know she has open studios sometimes. I've met a lot of people at Zine Fest that like have taken her class and they talk really highly about it. And I really love her comics, but I just like, I don't know, I guess.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, it's like
I haven't gone there.
Even with friends that I have that you would think, oh my God, you could just sit at their knee and listen to these amazing things. I haven't taken their classes or done any of their things, Yeah. It just happens. But Linda's out there. Linda Berry was a big inspiration too. Just like Dan Clowes, just like Peter Baggy. Like when I found her, I remember my wife and a friend had recommended Bitchy Bitch, and we were like, what is this comic? Like it blew our minds. We loved it.
Also Matt Groening's Life in Hell. That was really huge for me. Because my dad, he had a lot of the collected books, and he read it like back in the day, and that was probably one of my first exposure to like, cool comics.
Yeah, cool
like the humor, I think, has really rubbed off on me. And
yeah, absolutely. I remember, and I don't know if John was at this one. We didn't. I mean, we hung out at lunch. We had a lot of mutual friends, but we weren't like best buds hanging out all the time.
Yeah.
But one time we went to Chicago Comic-Con, and it was before Wizard World owned it. In fact, it was so small, it was like 2 rooms. And one room had all the Marvel and DC guys signing stuff and vendors. And then the other one had vendors and then a table for like local artists. And we went there specifically because Larry Marder was there with Tales of Bean World.
Okay, cool.
And we were so excited to meet him. And like the Marvel guys are right there. And we're like, okay, it's Larry Marder.
No, Bean World, Bean World's awesome.
Oh yeah, we all loved the hoi polloi. It was fantastic. So I mean, it kind of shows a mindset. Like if you're into the zine thing, if you're into the world of indie comics, we tend to gravitate towards certain people and certain things. So superheroes never did it for you, huh?
No, I mean, I like, I think I was into superheroes as like a premise. Like I liked superheroes. I had a lot of superhero toys and stuff, but I never read superhero comics. I wasn't really even into the superhero movies that were coming out. And I don't know. Like I liked Captain Underpants, and like I like kind of humorous, like or like Too Much Coffee Man. I like a lot.
Who doesn't love that, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. Like
I turned into him.
Yeah, no. So Too Much Coffee Man's cool though. I'd be him.
Yeah, Flaming Carrot. You ever read Flaming Carrot?
No, but I've seen the like.
I may have introduced you to something. The art's
fantastic. I got a lot of blind spots, and I don't know.
You got time, man.
I haven't read like Love and Rockets yet. And everyone's like,
oh my gosh, that's another classic. Yeah, but you know what? There's time. There's time. So how many books do you put out a year?
Maybe like 2 or 3.
Okay. And how big a zine do you put out?
It kind of depends. Like last one I did was like kind of a little like thing I just drew in my notebook that I wasn't necessarily like, I wasn't planning on releasing it necessarily, but then I thought it was funny, and that was like 12 pages. But then the one I did before that, zine. Yeah, one I did before that was like 56, and
that's a book.
Like I had some friends do like a few pages in there, but it was like, yeah, I mean that was kind of long, but also it wasn't as involved. Like the artwork was a little similar, like more simple, and like pole position is like 28 pages, and that I was really laboring on the artwork for and stuff. And so it just kind of depends on.
What's your theme overall? Like, we keep talking about John. John draws a lot from his childhood, from our high school years, from his life. What about you? Or are you just telling stories?
I'm not super sure yet. I think, for a long time, I think a lot of people, when they start making stuff, I was just trying to imitate what I saw, and maybe I'd inject parts of myself in there when I could. But I think a lot of those Thrills of Mediocrity issues, they were just kind of derivative of what I was into. And I was, and then maybe I'd retroactively be like, no, this fits my experience. I'm like this, but I don't know. Like I feel like pole position, that was a lot about being like, feeling awkward and like insecure in like a relationship. That was like that's like definitely the theme in the story. And like,
Sure.
friend Francis, it's like kind of it's like a dysfunctional family thing, but a lot of the ideas, it's like I saw something I think's funny, or like I think of an idea I think's funny, or I think is interesting, and I just kind of roll with it. I'm not usually like, I'm going to tell a story about this theme or this idea. I just kind of roll with it. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Some people have a distinct, like, I do slice of life, or I do, like you said, superheroes or whatever. Because zines can be literally anything.
Yeah.
Or it can be, the experiences of Bitchy Bitch, which is, when I look at your comics, first of all, I got to say, I really dig what you're doing with the artwork. On Junker Comics, got it right. When I go to buy my stuff or whatever, you've got a picture of three kids looking over a bridge.
Yep.
And to me, I see it once, it's already stuck with me.
Oh,
I really dig that. I dig the covers. I dig the artwork that's going on here, and I can see that like you've hit the right sweet spot with the zine world, right? Now, is your website the best place for people to buy these comics?
Yes. Yeah, go to junkercomics.com. If you go to junkercomics.com/shop, it takes you to my big cartel, and then you can just buy stuff on there. But if you're in Milwaukee, you could go to Lion's Tooth.
Lion's Tooth?
Yeah. Do you know them?
No, but I'm going to write it down and I'll put them in the show notes. Give them a shout out for you.
You should. I'm working there now too.
All right.
I'm their employee, so they're pretty awesome.
Lion's Tooth in Milwaukee.
Yes. Yeah, they got a lot of really awesome comics and books and zines, and they're really cool.
Very cool. Yeah, I'll give them a shout out and tag them so they know that you talked about them here on Alley Chats.
Yes. Yeah.
Be like, oh, that's awesome. Let's give him a quarter an hour raise.
That'd be great.
You're like, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So some of these other things that I'm looking at here, you've got pole position, Thrills of Mediocrity. Friend Francis, what's this?
Yeah, I just started drawing that in like a notebook I was carrying around.
Oh, is this the one you were talking about?
Yeah, it's like this little boy whose father is from outer space, and I don't know, it's their home life. I just kind of drew it panel by panel. I wasn't planning anything when I wrote it, but I think it's pretty funny. After the fact, I didn't think I was making it about anything, and then I finished it and I was like, oh, my dad's a alien technically, like he's from Germany and he's tall and bald and looks like this guy. So I was like, oh man, I am drawing from something, but it's I don't know.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't have any master plan when I make anything though. So I can't claim to be like, I don't know, like I don't know if I have a vision when I start stuff. I just kind of make stuff usually.
So where does it go from here? What are you thinking about with this? I mean, what are you thinking?
Now?
Yeah.
Well, so right now I'm making this comic with Lion's Tooth, the bookstore. They have this artist in residency program, and I'm their artist in residency this year. So I'm making this comic right now, and it's probably going to be done in like October-ish. And I don't know, that's been like kind of a really new experience because I'm getting like feedback as I do it, and like they kind of wanted me to do it in a lot more of like a planful way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been like this is like the first time I've written a script, and I'm gonna like pencil all of it, and then I'm gonna ink it, and then I don't know. Usually I just kind of go page by page and make it up as I go along, and so it's been really involved, and I feel like I learned a lot from it. But after this, I want to do something really unstructured. Like, I don't know, I want to do more in the realm of like John Porcellino, sort of like process, maybe over. Not to disparage King Cat or anything, but like where it's like kind of about the process and about like I don't know, just capturing little moments and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been reading, I don't know if you know Brian Chippendale, but
I don't know that name.
He's a drummer for the band Lightning Bolt.
Okay.
But he draws comics, and they're really like, I don't know, they're kind of similar to like how I think about John Porcellino comics, where they're like really kind of like, they're like immediate, and they're like loose, and they're like, I don't know, I think that's really appealing. And everything I've made so far has been really like, I'm like trying to be like, you know, Dan Clowes or Charles Burns, who are really like tight and structured. And I don't know, I want to try something different in that.
You want to try something different. I get it. Yeah. Cause when I look at like pole position, I can see how you're going like Dan Clowes, like it's really fine lines and detail. Whereas King Cat, it's usually not a lot of detail, pretty sparse.
Yeah. It's a lot of negative space, and
well,
which in some ways I think is a lot harder to like make that compelling.
He's been doing it for a long time, and it is true. It's not easy. I'm looking at now you've just given Chippendale a fan too, because this is super cool. When I look at this, I really like his stuff. So I just followed him. This is going to happen, right? So very cool. So Lion's Tooth, you've introduced us to. I just clicked on that. It's extremely cool. Now I can't believe we live this close to Milwaukee and I haven't been there. So now I'm going to have to go there. I'm in Chicago.
You're in Chicago? Okay, cool.
We're close to it. So now I know Lion's Tooth, and now you're going to have to find a way to go to a seminar or something from Linda Berry and meet her.
Yeah, no,
because
I've met her like
so worth it.
You know, like briefly in passing twice. Like my mom took me to see her at the library once when I was like,
oh really?
10. Yeah, and I didn't know who she was, and I didn't care at all, and I feel like I kick myself thinking about that like all the time, because I like, you know, she's like, oh, this lady draws comics, like,
and you're like, it's an icon. Like, now you know she's an icon.
Yeah, I draw comics too, Mom, whatever, you know. But like and then I like last fall there was like John Porcellino did a comics reading, and she was there like in attendance, and I talked to her like for like 3 or 4 minutes, but you know, not very long. And I want to attend one of her classes and really like speak with her.
Did you ever go to Cake?
No, I haven't.
I haven't either, and I've been invited 800 times, and I still haven't gone. Our zine that we did was called Disgraceland. We only did 3 issues, and it ended up at DePaul University. I don't know if you know this. They have a zine archive that they have built.
Well, that's cool.
And we got a letter that we were one of the zines. They had all 3 issues of our zine in their archive for people to look through, which I might have to do because I can't find a copy of it around here anymore. So that's why I keep getting invited to Cake. And then I'm like, I haven't been, but we might have to make a plan. We might have to both go at the same time.
That would be cool. Yeah.
And then you'll see. I'll walk you around and
We do next
introduce you
year.
to a few people I know. Do you ever read Joe Chiapetta?
No, what's he done?
Silly Daddy. He was in our group of friends. He was like the first one that he won I forget which, the Big Comics Award.
The Eisner or the?
Yeah, it might have been the Eisner. Yeah, I can't remember, but he won one for Silly Daddy, and it was like, wait, this is a zine. How did this happen?
That's cool.
And yeah, Silly Daddy is amazing, and Joe is just the sweetest guy. There's a book you're going to want to look at. Silly Daddy Comics, really, really great. And once again, it started out as like, we'd go to back then Kinko's and make double-sided 8 pages. Go after midnight when the guy's stoned, and they'll give you like 100 pages for a dime, and you're like, yes. But and like the guys like Rocktober was back then. All those guys were super cool. Like, it's just such a great community, the whole zine community.
Yeah.
And I love the creativity that comes out of it. And hey, man, keep at it, because I mean, I've seen Netflix shows based on zines, and I'm going, oh my God, the creativity just reeks in these things. It's so great.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I'm going to give it a shout out again. It's junkercomics.com, but it's spelled like Junker.
Yes.
And you can follow Moritz on Instagram at Moritz_Junker.
Yep.
And go to junkercomics.com, like I said, and go visit him at Lion's Tooth. And,
yes.
And him, when you go in there, be like, I came because you've got this great artist in residence. I really wanted to meet him. Really.
Say that.
Try to get him that extra dime an hour.
Me specifically.
Yes.
So that I can keep my job and they see me as an asset.
Yes. Well, Moritz, this was a lot of fun. We will definitely stay in touch. And who knows? Who knows where our paths will cross? I do a lot of events, and I love Zinesters, so I'll keep you around.
Well, and you're a Midwest guy, so it's.
I am, and the next time I see you, I'm sure Jeffrey Lewis will be back. We'll probably end up in the same room again.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. No, I will be there if he plays again.
All right. Thanks a lot, Moritz.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was great.